Find yourself a booth, order up a cold one. This is the Spring Bar.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Spring Bar. Glad to have you here. I am Florida Mike. Today we discussed last episode. Group chats was part of our topic. Today is group chats brought to life. As you can see, as always, joined by Sleepy Joe
I'm very
and
excited.
our special guest back on the show. It's been a long time since we've seen Cholo Oliver.
Oliver.
Gentlemen, how are you guys doing today?
Uh,
I'm good.
There he is. He does have a voice. Welcome, Oliver.
if
Gosh,
indeed
this
that
is
is your real name.
yeah, this is going way back. Our OG listeners, if we have any left, will remember Oliver from very early single digit episodes where you came on and talked a lot of Caravel with us.
Right.
Oliver is the Caravel guru. He's really the only person, I think, Joe, that you and I know that actually fixes Caravel transistorized movements.
He's the only person that I'm aware of at all, because anybody
Yeah.
else who takes a look at those movements throws their hands up in disgust and runs away. So
Yeah.
it's a pretty solid niche. And so
And
if you have a Citizen transistorized, if you have a Caravel transistorized, Oliver's your guy. He doesn't do much. He just swaps the movements wholesale, but he has a bunch of them in back stock. So
yeah. And he can replace parts and that.
he's got the parts. That's
And if you're listening and watching and you're wondering what the hell a transistorized movement is, yes. Exactly. Yeah. Nobody knows.
nobody knows.
Old technology. Didn't how long did it last, Oliver? What were the years for transistorized
Man,
movements?
it was probably what is 68?
Two.
For the first
68
ones.
to at least 78. I'd say a 10-year run.
That
They
long.
didn't get popular until you really got into the 70s, because it was
Yeah.
that weird niche space, because 68, right, quartz had already happened. And so the transistorized was already kind of a dead end, unless it was the same people that were kind of working around the beta 21 thing. Because Seiko mastered the quartz
Mhm.
and then just started to miniaturize and cheap. The beta 21 was a dead end. And then the transistorized, which is it's just weird. You've got magnets, you've got brakes, you've got all of that freaky stuff in there. It's
Yeah.
it's a strange sense of voodoo, and it's not exactly the same like horological branch as, say, electric watches like Hamilton and the stuff that catches on fire, but it's just as weird.
Stuff that catches on fire.
What else you want to call it? That's what we're
Well, I
talking
mean,
about.
yeah, when you're right, you're right. It's funny. Oh, goodness. All right. Well, let's get the show on the road. Wrist and drinks. Oliver, what do you
Wrist
got on?
and drinks. Yeah, we've got some Woodford Reserve here. So that's nice. And on the wrist is my Caravel quartz alarm chronograph. Um, yeah, this one's a
Oh,
quirky one. This one's weird. It has a rotatable bezel to go through the different functions and to adjust them.
So
The
that it
alarm, the
rotate, they're
stopwatch.
not associated buttons, it rotates.
Yeah, it
so
rotates.
you
So,
get it up to 12. So
yep,
12 o'clock is where it
right.
Huh.
activates.
At the 12 o'clock, so that's where you choose your function to set the time, to set the
So you
alarm
got
time, your
time,
stopwatch.
alarm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a analog chronograph.
Yeah.
Really weird. I can't.
So
It seems
what's the little function that's at the 6 o'clock? It's like a zero, couple arrows.
it's weird. It's when you set it to that, it's to synchronize all the hands to line up at 12 o'clock. I don't know why.
Really?
to set it, but when you reset the battery, when you remove the battery, there's instructions on the inside where it tells you that you have to align it to 0 and make sure all the hands line up to 12 before you can set the time. Really,
That's a high quality movement right there.
So, do you remember the problem you had when you replaced the
Yeah.
battery in your surfboard? Maybe that kind of eliminated that issue of having to
It's an interesting thing.
individually reset everything. It's just part of the process. Huh. Well, Joe, what are you sucking down there? What's in your glass?
This is bourbon and soda. It's been I had a rough yesterday, so
You had yeah.
I'm drinking
And
light today.
I'm pulling up the picture. What have you got?
That's the Hoyer.
beloved.
Yep, my Boulevard Octavia, caliber 15,
The love of
asymmetric
his
dial.
life.
That's my Grail watch. I needed some comfort watch today, so I pulled this one out. It was weird though, right? Because for whatever reason, the watch had stopped right before midnight. Like it probably actually was about 12 hours previous to this, but it was right as it was getting ready to advance, and it was going from the 26th to the 27th. And so I'm looking down at the date setting, and it was 72, and this was because it was seven from 27 and the 26.
Did it start to weird you out a little bit?
It was 72, and I'm like, oh man, it is not the 72nd of anything. Do not do this. It messed me up, and so then I advanced the hands in the flip. I'm like, oh, thank God, because I would rather not get that serviced if I can help it. What you got, Mike?
I got to pour it, but I got my Grand Marnier. It's been a little bit since
you and your Grand Marnier, man. I can get behind that as a sipping cordial. I am a fan.
I love it.
Which is weird. I may need to go pick some up.
It's about time you agreed with one of his drinks.
Something. I've got
a finger
and a half left, so I'm going to have to pick up.
That's going to be a step 4. Go for it. Bottoms up.
Yeah, no. And on the wrist, I have got a watch that my friends love to hate.
It's the baguette.
The baguette.
French bread watch.
That's so funny. That
is the Yama Yachting Graph. I catch so much flack for this watch, and Oliver hates the strap that I have it on.
It's not a good strap, Mike.
It's the perfect strap for this watch. It's a late tan, late beige, suede, rally-esque style
so
strap.
Great with the blue and red of the dial, Mike.
No.
Really brings out the white minute track.
It's perfect. It's a perfect match for this watch. I love it. It's comfortable. I like it so much that I put hold on. You can't see because it's real.
We can't.
It's real big on the screen there. Let me. Can you see that? That's the Yama.
How would we see that? That's smaller than you are.
That's the Yama buckle.
That's how much I like the strap. On it?
You put the buckle
I absolutely did. It's a forever strap.
Oh dear. I said keep the original blue.
No. What's funny is the
blue suede would have been better. Nobody would have stepped on it. Don't step on my blue suede. Nobody would have done squat with that.
The original blue strap that it came on, I put on a Caravel, believe it or not, Oliver.
Oh, yes, I remember.
And it's much better suited on that Caravel than it is on the Yachting Graph. So it is what it is.
Whatever.
Suck it up, Buttercup. You'll live. See, in this, ladies and gentlemen, this is the group chat come to life, because our group chat, this is exactly it. We just throw shade, we make fun of each other, we tell each other our stuff sucks, and that's what our group chat is with Oliver.
That's pretty close.
Yeah,
pretty much.
So we have an agenda. We have an agenda here.
Yeah, but first,
what?
Aren't you going to ask me if I have anything new, Joe?
No, I don't care.
You do care. Oh, I know you do.
Oh, that's right. I know what you have.
Yeah. See, you do care.
Okay.
Okay.
All of a sudden.
Lead me in, Joe.
Okay. Mike, do you have anything new?
You know what, Joe? As we discussed last episode, I had something coming, but per the rules, if it's not in
Per the
hand,
rules.
I couldn't
Per the
talk
rules.
about it. But
Oliver wants to talk about something he's got coming. He doesn't get to because
he doesn't
Nope.
get to. Yeah. The
Can't.
people will never know.
never know.
Oh, I got this gorgeous lady.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's nice.
Oh my gosh,
You know
it's beautiful.
what's interesting too, though? This is something like this was a big point of contention when because I have or my wife has a watch similar to that, but down at the bottom by the lugs, ours is scooped out and yours is not. But in the images, which were always hand drawn, they look almost the same. And so it was really interesting to try to figure out which version I had. You have the
So this is a 1931 Miss America. This is the green version, the emerald version. So they did a sapphire and emerald. You either got blue or green stones. This is the green stone.
And there was a red stone too. There was a red.
Are you sure?
Ruby?
Maybe it may not have been of that, but they did red for.
Well, yeah, not in the Miss America though.
They may not have done it for Miss America.
Yeah, no, not these. It was either green or blue. It's complete. Original bracelet, complete. The dial is fantastic. The hands are blue. The gems are there. This is that expansion bracelet that has all the filigree links underneath it. It's fantastic. This thing winds right up, keeps perfect time.
Which stone was replaced?
The one in the upper right corner.
So it's not quite the same. It doesn't have the same profile.
So it stands a lot taller than the rest of them.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull it out and sand the bottom of it down to get it to match.
You think you can sand that down?
Oh, I'm sure. Put it on the belt sander, it'll come down. I'm sure it's what, glass, or it might even be,
I was always
jewel.
I was assuming that they were glass of some sort. I don't think that they're emeralds.
No, they're not true stones.
Yeah, and also because of the age, it's not going to be a synthetic stone, and it won't be plastic either. But
it depends on when it was replaced.
Right. Well, that's the next question.
Yeah. So who knows? This photo here, this is kind of, so that's the limited edition 150th anniversary. But those are the lugs that you have, correct?
Mine are real close. Well, yeah.
The kind of flared out lug, they're like the exposed lug wire, where mine's real narrow, fits in the actual lug itself.
There were so many different variants of that style of watch that if you are interested in those and you have a lady friend or perhaps yourself, you want to go with a teeny tiny vintage watch look, you can't go wrong, and you can find something that's going to match whatever it is you've got going on. There's a ton of colors, there's a ton of options, there's a ton of variants, and they're so fine though. The issue I think would be if you have over a 6-inch wrist and trying to find extra links for that bracelet. Man, that would just be nuts. However, they do look really good on. They really look really good on like a black cord.
Yeah, that would be the workaround for it, because I don't know that you can add links to these.
I don't know. You know what? You can add links, because the one that I got was missing, and we got that fixed. We added.
Okay, well,
you can do it. But I think it's going to be the same thing as putting extra links or taking links out of an expansion bracelet, which Oliver can do.
But it's not that hard with those bracelets.
Right. It's just a right pair of needle nose pliers, right?
Yeah.
And pulling out stuff from the sides.
Well, guys, let's get texting here. We actually have some. So here's how I set up this episode. I literally went through our group chat,
Mike talk,
scrolled back a little bit, and pulled some points of things that we've discussed or have yet to discuss or what have you. And we're just going to rehash it out in person, on camera, face to face, mano y
Here we
mano
go.
y mano. The first
Great.
the first thing that I feel is appropriate to discuss, because today is Daylight Savings Day.
Are you done?
I am done.
Oh,
We're,
okay.
welcome back to the show, Joe. We're discussing daylight savings woes. The setting of the watches, the dates, the times, the changing of the batteries.
Yeah.
Oliver, you brought this up. You posted a picture of all the
Oh,
watches that you
God.
had to change
Yeah.
batteries or times or whatever.
Holy crap.
Yeah,
This is your
and
topic.
then it's weird because then you realize how it's like some of them just, might stop working and I don't know, they just happen to be like dead when you're adjusting them.
Yeah, and you don't know. You don't know what the
No,
uh-huh.
you
So
don't
that was
know.
the point of contention. And it's whether or not the battery is dead or the watch is dead.
Right.
And
And
that was that, and Mike had to make the point that he's dead inside, which we can't fix that, Mike.
no, that's like
Well,
a personal problem.
you said that there's a difference between dead and broken.
Yes, there is a difference between dead and
And
broken.
I said, because my heart is broken, I'm dead inside. So therefore, they are one and the same, dead and broken.
No, you have your own issues, and that's
Guys, welcome to our group chat. This is exactly what our chats are
this is
like.
almost verbatim too. It's really funny.
I know.
Yeah,
Here,
I mean,
so
and of course, because some of them are transistorized, I'm like, oh, it's probably the watch that's broken.
Yeah, it's not the battery's fault.
Yeah, it's not the battery's fault, right? It's the watch. But you put it to a volt tester, you're like, okay, it's below 1.5. All right, so it is the battery, and then you put it in, and then yeah, it starts, running again. The quartz watches are fine, right? Typically, you pop in the battery, and they run.
Because those
But you just
movements,
might
the
not.
quartz movements, regardless of age, they're almost bulletproof.
Oh yeah,
They
mm,
they go forever. They don't need much lubrication until you get into
no,
really vintage stuff.
right,
Quartz watches from the 70s require some extra care and feeding, but
right.
quartz watches from the 80s,
No, I mean, today's watches don't even have jewels in them.
right?
For the most part, where back then in the 70s or so, you'd find them, they'd have 4, 5 jewels in them.
Yeah.
And
it depends on the quartz watch. The higher end stuff, the high precision stuff, those will have jewels in it.
Well, but also, that's also because when you're
but
thinking about the watchmaking of the time, that's what they knew. And okay, we're trying to adapt this new technology, which is part of the transistorized thing, because it was the same sort of point. But we don't know what to do with this. We don't know how to do this. Here's what I understand. I understand an escape wheel. Let me use electricity to break the escape wheel rather than using a lever escapement. And
Mm.
like, okay, I get it. We're trying to adapt what we know into what we are trying to do. But and so when you get into the execution of the true quartz movements, you've got jewels in that, and then eventually some side is like, we don't need them. We don't need them.
precisionists don't have any jewels, right?
No,
They do.
What 2, 3? Not
Something,
much.
yeah. But they have
I don't know.
something. So, speaking of the precisionist, I posted a story, and it was a picture of the Super Seville, the new square, and I misworded it, and I said that I set the watch 4 months ago, and it was running plus 1 second per day,
Right,
which is actually incorrect, because plus 1 second per day over the last 120 days would be 2 minutes
right.
fast. Well, it was 1 second ahead over that 4 month period.
So it
So
was plus 1 second.
it was plus 1 second overall. So divide 1 second into 120 parts. That's how fast it's running. I mean, that's pretty impressive. I mean, 1 second to the mark.
Right. Yeah, because I
That,
saw that and I was like, that can't be
yeah.
right.
Yeah, not 1 second per day, but 1 second overall over that course of that 120-day period. It's only gained 1 second.
That's awesome. Now that
That's
one
yeah,
probably has jewels because it's like continuously sweeping.
yeah.
But like the chronograph ones, like in our lunar pilot, they don't have any jewels.
Are
Yeah.
you sure? I thought
Yeah,
they
it
do
says
too.
0.
Are you looking it up, Joe? You look like you're busy.
I'm trying to look it up. I'm trying to look it up, and like you're not finding it.
What are they? NP50, I think.
MP20s. At least the chronograph ones. I don't know what the
Yeah, the NP50 is what's in like the Jetstars and the Super Seville.
yeah, that one
The,
probably
the,
has
the new
jewels,
three-handers.
right?
In any case, daylight savings for me isn't that big of a deal because the majority of my collection is all mechanical anyways, and
Mm.
I just wind them and set them as I wear them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my modern stuff is mostly my modern Bulivas are mostly, well, they're all quartz. So what is that? Maybe 8, 9, 10 watches that I have to set. But again, I'll just do that as I pull them out of the box and wear
Right.
them the next time.
Right.
So
So yeah, the MP20 is no jewels.
really,
Says so on the movement.
Yeah, that one doesn't have any, which is interesting.
I could have swore they did.
No
But in any
jewels.
case, it is what it is.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Can we move on to
We
what's
can.
probably-
Let's talk about no jewels. Let's talk about no jewel movements, and let's get into Mike's love of Timex.
No, hold on.
Oh,
This is
Uh-huh.
not
my
my
God.
love of Timex.
Oh, it's
Timex,
all about your love of Timex.
your secret
Timex
love.
is Oliver's secret crush.
No. Okay, hang on.
Look at you. See the look on his
please.
face.
I have a reason for that, which
Hang
I
on,
can reveal.
Oliver. How many Timex watches do you own?
0.
0. Mike, how many Timex watches
Hold
do
on.
you own?
No, hold on.
No, answer
Do you
the
know
question,
how
Mike. Answer the question.
when you like your crush, you pull their hair, you make fun of them.
Yeah,
you,
and
you
he
don't
would have
want to
all
let
sorts of Timex pictures up behind him.
you don't want to
And
let
you,
it be
he would have the
known
gum
that
wrapper
you-
that Timex
that
gave
you
him.
that you like them, right? That's the stage that Oliver's in. Oliver's
No,
in the weird.
no. How many Timex watches do you have, Mike?
I don't know, a couple.
A couple.
Couple.
Shall we list them?
I got a couple.
Go on, list them. We'll wait.
I have a couple, and
I have a
okay,
couple.
so let's get into it.
You've got a Q. You've got a Q reissue. You've got the world timer. You've got the electric. You've got at least 2 more.
Pan Am?
The Pan Am
I
was
don't have
gift.
a Pan Am. No, I don't have a
Oh,
Pan
you
Am.
don't. Oh.
Pan Am was a gift. You've
I don't
got.
have a Pan Am.
I said it was a gift. You gifted it. It's not yours. Pay
I did
attention.
not gift it.
The Pan Am?
Yeah, I didn't buy it. I just took a picture of it.
No. You gifted one of those. That's different.
I'm telling you, I did not give it as a gift. I did not buy it. It was not a gift from me. Somebody bought it. Yes, I took a picture of it because they had one and I wanted to take a picture of it because I'd never seen one before. It's an excellent watch. However, it had nothing to do with me in any sort of way.
We'll discuss that offline. Okay. We'll discuss it. Okay. And then
I have
you
the Houdinki. I have the Houdinki Timex.
You've got
which
the
has got a big
Houdinki.
old
Oh my
movement in
God,
it,
you have
by
the
the
Houdinki.
way.
Yeah. Wait, you wore that yesterday or this morning? Or something?
There's a picture this morning.
I wore that today. Yeah, that was my
Okay.
my watch that I wore to work.
I have
Oh.
one Timex. It was my grandfather's watch, and it had a penny glued to the case back. I
Why?
haven't fixed it yet because it's a pin lever movement.
Ah.
And that's an heirloom watch, motherfucker. So
Oliver,
I
loves-
don't see you getting out of this one. I don't see this working well for you. I don't see this is going to be something that's recoverable.
listen, this topic has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with Oliver. And
I'm
here's
sorry,
why.
you're the one who
Here's why.
chose this
No,
topic.
no.
Oliver's
I
got
know.
no
Let
game.
me.
He's got no dog in this fight.
Yes, he.
Timex.
Oh,
I'm the
but
closest
he
we
does.
got here.
Oh, but he does. Okay, so here's how the story goes. Oliver over here is a Caravel man through and through. He loves his Caravels. He loves his Transistorized.
We get a ton of shit about it.
Yeah. Every time Timex comes out with a new watch, Oliver secretly adores them from afar because, and I believe the quote was, "I hate that Timex is so good and Caravel is doing nothing about it."
Doesn't mean I like them.
Therefore, vis-a-vis, ipso facto, Oliver loves loves
No.
Timex.
So it's
That's
funny. So I'm you've seen those ads where Timex and Caravel were at it, back
Yeah.
in the day. And that rivalry, I don't know, I always thought that was pretty cool and fun, because one of the popular ads back then was, hey, Timex is a pin, levered movement, and you can get a Caravel at 7 joules for a similar price. So
Right.
why wouldn't you?
Battle of the drugstore brands.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And I think the advertisement was, there was a picture of a Timex, a picture of a Caravel, and the caption said, "Ask your watchmaker which he'd rather work on."
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because
Right.
the point being that you cannot repair a pin lever movement. There's just,
Yeah.
I imagine that there are people who can do it now because they've decided to make it, that's their niche, and they want to push that. And also because it's a vintage watch movement and blah, 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 blah. But there's no jewels, there's very little lubrication. It was meant to be a cheap, disposable movement.
Disposable.
Yeah.
Whereas the Caravel movements, which at the time that they were coming out with those as jeweled, but as a cheaper
They were
alternative,
they
was
were
the
7 jewel movements. Yeah.
early Miyota movements back when
Yep.
Japanese meant nothing. It was not high quality. And so, particularly when it came to watch movements, similar to where people are having the consideration of a lot of Chinese watch movements.
Mhm.
We're in that same sort of boat. It's in that same sort of transitional period. But the Timex movements are difficult to manage. Why are we looking at this? Why are you showing
Well,
me?
I'm just pulling up some stuff. This
Well,
is a
You
Timex,
have a whole
Timex
folder
Marlin.
of Timex movements. Is that what you're really?
Huh?
We're looking at Timex movements because you're
No, not Timex movements. It's a Timex watch. This is brand new. You can buy this right now off the website. This is a Timex Marlin.
Of course,
chronograph.
Mike would know that.
Well,
Shut up.
in regards to that, though, it's more than likely using a Miyota movement. That Timex is,
Yes.
they're
Timex.
all,
Yep.
so, which is a positive thing, I should say.
And
Fast
that's why I
forward-
can.
right.
That's why I can get away with it.
Fast forward to today, my issue is that here we have Timex, and you guys know, and I've said this a dozen times over, that is Timex is just chipping away at that space that Caravel once occupied, that price point. And you have Timex coming out with all of these watches.
Well, okay, hold on. I want to stop you right there. Now, I need to preface this with love Caravel, right? Love Caravel. Love the story, love the history, love everything Caravel represents. Now, Caravel still exists. Okay. They operate in a price point equal to or little less than what Timex operates in right now. The difference between the two is, hold on, the next one here. This one, this automatic, this is I think their 1983, whatever they call it, reissue watch. This is, I think, like a $210 watch, right? The what you get at that price point in a Timex versus Caravel right now, Timex is blowing them out the water. Caravel still operates in this price point, but what you get by comparison is not as good.
Here's the big difference: that Caravel it still is, as far as I understand, is still trying to find its history, its story, its everything, right? Because they rebranded themselves as Caravel New York and it was essentially a fashion brand, much in the same way you would see Gucci labeled brands or Michael Kors, or
yeah.
right, any of these other people who are
Mhm.
just slapping a name on a Chinese movement, and the dial looks okay and the jewels are plastic, but it's going to go with your outfit. Timex, with all the Giardo designs that they've been doing recently, and the Todd Schneider collaborations, and all of the things that they have been looking at.
Not even the collaborations though, like their own stuff.
Well, even like, so you've
Mhm.
got the watch that you have, the Hodinkee collaboration. There's a couple of the James brand watches are really good. All of the Todd Schneider stuff is really well designed. All of the Giardo designs are also really, really good. The 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 balance between the case shape and the dial, the balance between the handsets, like they have gone and they've put the money into design. They aren't throwing it into the movements. The movements are still cheap. They aren't throwing it into cutting edge technology because they're going with off the shelf. And
I wouldn't say the movements are cheap.
okay, cheap-ish. It's not a high quality Swiss movement, right?
It's the same movement that's in your Oceanographer G reissue.
I know, right? And so it's not, again, that's not that much of a high quality movement, and I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me, because to me, the part of the watch and the value of the watch is coming in the design. It's coming in the balance that's coming through that level of design. And they've gone through, and so if you're looking at a 41 millimeter watch, the proportions of the dial are they're good. The balance of the hands and the numerals and the outer track and the inner track and all of that other stuff, they have gone through and they've put a really fine eye onto that. It's like, okay, we're going to hit at a price point, but we want this to look and feel like a much higher quality, and design comes into that play.
But
That's
comes
the thing
into
that we've talked about. Well, we've talked about this forever.
Yeah.
They're killing it. They are absolutely killing it in that space.
For sure.
Here's the thing. When was the last time the official Caravel social media Instagram was updated?
Oh
You
yeah,
tell
it's been a
us,
long time.
We don't know.
2023. Come on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mike's
it's been a
got
while.
to pour some more. Mike's got to get another drink here.
I might
Yeah.
finish this bottle.
You might
You might finish it at this
Yeah.
point. Like, Mike's right. Caravel is still producing watches in that time, at that at those price points, and they're good watches. But what good is a watch if nobody knows about them?
Well, you've got a couple of those, don't you?
Well,
Got a
I
couple of new
actively
ones.
look and search for them.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's you're right. You do.
But
And I have a quote unquote modern Caravel. It's what do they call it? The Caravel Retro, kind of like
retro, yeah,
the tonneau
Oliver,
case.
Oliver put that one in an ice cube tray. Remember?
yeah, that was when I froze.
It's kind of like a diver looking, like the bezel doesn't
Diver-esque.
rotate. It's a very inexpensive movement inside of it. It's like I get where they were coming with the idea. It's just the execution wasn't there. And
How many, Oliver? How many of the modern Caravels do you have? You've got the retro. Don't you have that railroad? It's like the almost,
3.
you
No,
got like
I
the-
don't.
and you don't have the railroad.
No, I bought my uncle the railroad. So
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
yeah, so I got these
He's-
two.
yeah, he's got that field one, he's
here's
got
the
the retro,
retro.
and then you have the chronograph.
Yeah,
Right. And then there's the dress one.
yeah, that dress chrono with like
Mhm.
that anthracite dial.
Yeah. So I mean,
Now, there is some stuff that is coming out from Caravel that actually is really cool. There's a couple that I do like. One is an open heart, which I'm not usually crazy about, but they designed it very nicely around the open heart. That railroad one is cool. That's a cool throwback.
I like it.
yeah.
You
I like
know,
that
it's on an old like a Speedo styled expansion bracelet. It looks the part from that era. It's very cool looking.
It's that really legible dial, but it's also like
Yeah.
it's got that pusher at 2 o'clock that's a light.
Yeah.
I
it's
think
like
on
the
those is a
Indiglo.
light, yeah, like an Indiglo type of thing. Yeah,
but here's the thing, right? Immediately when you're describing it, you're using Timex terminology. It's
Yeah,
integral.
I know.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is a big statement for what Timex is doing in that particular watch space. Because if you are a watch fan, if you are into horology, if you are into the history, particularly if you're into American watch brands, it's like, okay, you're looking at Bulova pretty seriously, but then you're also looking at Timex as a contemporary and as something that is just as storied of a history. You know,
Mhm.
takes a licking, keeps on ticking. You know, that's a serious little bit of advertising clout that goes
Yeah.
on with the Timex brand. I do not dislike Timex designs. I think vintage Timex is huge. There's a ton of really good stuff. Repair, I don't think that repair of vintage Timex is any more complicated than repair of vintage Accutron.
Yes and no. A lot of the vintage Timex stuff was based around the Dynabeat and the quartz movements, and those are largely based off of transistorized technology. And then you have the pin levers. Some of them have an actual jeweled movement, but it's not as much as you would think. It's not like the Bulvas and the Caravels. Those were very different. The Caravels of the 60s and 70s were purpose-built movements. You know, they were designed to be serviced. And today, all these years later, you can still have them serviced and run great. A lot of these vintage Timex, as cool as they are, and I have a Dynabeat and I have a quartz, and I'm deathly afraid of when those things go bad because I don't know anybody who works on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they always seem broken when you look them up.
They really do, and I think I've gotten very lucky with the two that I have so far. At the price point, the $200 and below price point, that's where Timex is shining, because a lot of their vintage reissue stuff falls within that 175 to $200 range, and they're fantastic. They really are. You can't argue that. That's why I know deep down, Oliver, you want me to buy you one? You want me to buy you one, Oliver? I'll buy you one. I'll
Never,
send it
no.
to you.
It will be resold to someone else.
Wow, yeah, probably me.
They're probably Joe.
Now, that
Okay,
said,
for full transparency, Oliver and Mike were the ones who bought me that Invicta. I just want to throw that out there.
Correct.
And Mike and I are the ones who bought Oliver those sexy watches, and Oliver and I are the ones who bought Mike that Pagani design. So, I mean, this is the trifecta.
yeah. But all that said, coming up very soon, Joe and I are going to start telling the story of Caravel. Like we said a moment ago, they have a great storied past. How Caravel started is very interesting. How they've competed with many other watch brands back in the 60s and 70s, and sometimes even Bulova themselves. There are some Caravels that just outshine the Bulova
Oh, without
counterpart,
question.
you know?
Right.
Without
Mhm.
question.
It,
You
it
know?
the keen listener will know from previous conversations with Michael when we've had him on here, there is something coming from Caravel. They are doing
Mhm.
some cool stuff. Caravel is going to start finding their legs again. Okay. We're going to start telling that story here, probably maybe next episode, maybe the next episode after that. Um, there is some really cool stuff coming from Caravel, and I think they are going to enter back into this price point that, let's just call it, $350 and below price point, because that's generally where Caravel lives right now, and that's where they want to keep it, because anything
Yeah.
above that, you're entering bull of a price territory.
If you're
So
looking at the snorkel,
yeah,
some of the other,
Mhm.
and it's like it seems that Bulova is really trying to price themselves at, like, put 500 to 1,500.
it
You
seems to be where they live.
know,
You
within
know,
there's that $1,000 range in there.
Right.
And Caravel, and
pretty much everything fits almost within that, with the exception of just a couple of outliers.
yeah. And Michael has said before, Caravel, they try to stay at that $300 price point and below.
Hmm.
I truly believe they're going to start entering that segment in a big way. They're going to bring back some of their history and a lot of their designs moving forward. I see some really cool stuff happening. So it's not that we're slamming Caravel. It's just that we're kind of upset because the brand has so much they can offer today, and they're really missing that market right now. And it might take them a while to get back into that space because Timex has really capitalized on their absence. They really have. When it comes to American designed watches in that lower price point, Timex took off running. Like when did the first Q reissue come out? Like that was 2019, 2018, somewhere around
Wow.
there.
Yeah.
That's really when they started ramping up their reissue type stuff.
Hmm.
And they've been going ever since.
Right.
So Caravel may be down, they're not out, and I think you're
No.
going to see a comeback story from them. So
Yeah, that's exciting, to see a historic brand such as Caravel come back and introduce offerings, to that will compete against that price point in Timex and any other, brand that's in that price point. And that's
yeah,
what, and Joe and Mike have always heard me. That's what gets to me. I'm just like, Timex is just chipping away, and the Caravel's on the sidelines, They're doing something. I don't know what, but and I'm just like,
and
oh, Caravel can come and get that, and oh, yeah, that's how passionate I am about that brand.
Bulova has been really focused on their history. They've been focused on telling their story, especially with the 150th anniversary that's here. But they've been ramping
Right.
up to that. They've been doing really good with a lot of their reissue lines and some of their new products. And it's not that they've forgotten Caravel. It's just I feel like Caravel is the yeah, we're gonna get to that. Yeah, we're gonna get to
Right.
that. Yeah, we're gonna we haven't there's it's always been in the back of their mind, but they've been focusing really heavy on the Bulova story. And I think now it's time to tell the Caravel story. Caravel needs their time to shine, and it's coming. It's coming. Okay, moving on. We're gonna do kind of a lightning round. This is just some hot button topics that always seem to come up. First up, one of Joe's favorite topics. Vintage Invicta.
This is my favorite topic.
Because you always share these vintage Invicta watches. Every time you come across one, you always share it.
No,
Like,
that's not
yes, you
me.
do.
That was me.
That's all Oliver.
You share it too.
Eh,
Vintage Invicta, I think we all agree that we like it, right?
Invicta diver, right?
Yeah, they're
It's a
good.
skin diver, stainless steel case, sort of probably a bakelite bezel,
Yeah.
light dial with applied markers, a blue seconds hand, real simple, date at 3. Yeah, it's a classic dive watch. It's a classic skin diver. It's on leather, so fuck that. But beyond that, like you throw that sucker on a bracelet, you throw it on a Perlon, you throw it on a NATO. Yeah, that'd be a great watch. I don't
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
you could show up. You could show up to any meetup with that watch, and people are like, "Oh,
You could with any vintage Invicta, right?
Oh yeah.
the vintage Invicta, like that is. If you want to talk about a value proposition, if you want to talk about a sleeper, that's
For
the
sure.
watch. This watch,
Yeah.
okay, this one. This
This
is
is fantastic.
the Invicta Jetstar is what that is.
A blue
And I
made
found
dialed
that and
in.
like this has got Mike written all over it. If Bulova
I-
did one of those, you would jump on that in a heartbeat.
I don't know if I would call this the Invicta Jetstar. I understand why you say that. Okay, but this fantastic. It was just like this Bulova. You got me thinking Bulova. Blue degradé style dial. Again with the chunky
Fuming.
markers. Has like a red applique on top of the marker that hangs over the edge a little bit. Some baton hands. I mean, this is fantastic looking.
A
Hang on a
highly
second. Earl,
polished tonneau case.
Oliver, did you just feel the earthquake?
No.
Okay.
Why? Because I
Because we
praised
just had an
Invicta?
earthquake.
Like a literal earthquake?
Little earthquake just now.
Really?
No.
Just now.
Did you feel it?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Oh.
My room shook, but the animals didn't move. So
How much is in your drink, Joe?
it's not above a 5.
Yeah, how much have you been drinking, Joe?
I didn't feel anything.
I'm 1.5 in.
You heard it here first, folks.
California earthquakes
Southern California earthquake live on the show.
on the show.
You won't get this type of content anywhere else.
Nowhere else. Just
No,
here.
sir.
Everybody is okay. Joe has been marked safe. Oliver doesn't seem to care.
Oliver didn't have. That's the thing
Yeah.
about it. Anyway, moving on.
The next watch we're going to talk about is a watch that I love, everybody else loves to hate. This is the latest edition, the newest Moon Swatch 1965. I think
Care
this
about
is,
moon swatches.
of
God
all
damn.
the Moon Swatches that they have done so far, this one is by far the best one that they've done. Oh, this is fantastic.
Why?
Why?
This is
Amongst yourselves.
Can't even
you
tell
know
us.
that enamel dial that they just came out with, which is fantastic. This is that watch in a Moon Swatch. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. The stark white dial, the black contrast, the black bezel on a gray case. The strap that they have on here is not good, but you put this on a black strap with white stitching. Oh, it's beautiful. Fantastic. What's cool about this watch is they've recalibrated the subdials. They're not a 1/10 of a second and a minute counter. Your 10 o'clock subdial is an hour counter, calibrated to count up to 19 hours. The right subdial is a minute counter for 60 minutes. Then you have your running seconds at the 6 o'clock and your chronograph hand in the center. This is beautiful looking. I love it. I love it.
Are you gonna get one?
I don't know. I might. If I was going to get any of them, this is the one I'd buy.
That's kind of surprising because you're
Are
always.
you done?
Hey, so I didn't want to leave him by himself, so I had to say something.
Are you done?
Well,
Why,
this has
Joe?
no
Why?
color. It's so monochromatic, so I'm
It's
kind of
awful.
surprised that you like it.
It's awful.
Because I love the enamel dial version of it. That
Oh.
new enamel dial is gorgeous, and this is too. And Joe, I know you can't complain about this because you love the high contrast tool watch dials, which is why you love the Lunar Pilot so much, because of the contrast on that watch. This does the exact same thing. Therefore, you don't get to complain about it.
Fuck that swatch.
You wanted me to pull up this picture. Why did you want me to pull up this picture?
Let's
This
talk
has
about that picture. So Swatch has, and it's a display only as far as I can tell. I don't think they're going to be selling them, but I'm willing to bet that those are going to show up at some point. So on the far left is a Wittenauer Wittenauer chronograph. And then on the far right is supposedly a Rolex chronograph. And these are, if you go off of the story that Swatch is telling, not Omega is telling, that Swatch is telling, that these are also reissues of the watches that were all submitted as test watches for space travel. And out of that, we all know that the Speedmaster was the one that was chosen by NASA and becomes the first watch in space, blah, blah, blah. First watch on the moon, etc.
What's interesting about these trio of watches that are here is the other two that flank the sides of the Moon Swatch are also in a bioceramic case.
Right. So, and they've done a reissue, but it also looks like the subdials are at a slightly different place. And so it's a question of if those watches actually work or not. because it seems that it's a display version. I don't know that they're for sale, but those ones look much more like a mechanical chronograph. It seems that we've got the subdials at 3 and 6 rather than at 10 and 2, like it is
In
on
the proper locations, yeah.
right.
Swatch made these, or
Swatch made those, and it's part of the display of the release for this watch, which is
Oh.
you can get it now. It's
Oh, yeah.
available. But those
Mhm.
two watches, whether or not they work, it's hard to say. So that's part of the question about those, and nobody seems to know what they are and how that works. Now, what I find interesting about that, and the reason that I asked Mike to put that in, is that the watch on the far left here, that's a Wittenauer.
yeah.
And so Wittenauer was an independent company. Wittenauer had submitted their chronograph as a potential, and Rolex had as well. Wittenauer is currently owned by Bulova since
Mhm.
2001, and there is nothing that's available on them right now. Their website is down. There's nothing for them on the Bulova website. It's like, okay, this is potentially an opportunity for them to do a really interesting series of reissues, because vintage Wittenauer hits in kind of the same emotional space as vintage Invicta, at least to me. There's some really interesting vintage Wittenauer watches.
I wouldn't even say that. I would say vintage Wittenauer hits in the same space that vintage Universal Geneva does.
You could go there. You could
Yeah.
Can
absolutely
you
go there.
imagine if Citizen threw some money at Wittenauer?
It'd be
that
a
would be
fantastic idea.
fantastic.
It'd be a great idea, and there'd be a lot that you could do with it. I think that you would have to market it correctly. I think that you would have to re-release it correctly, and you need to choose the right pieces. But that watch right there, it's a good looking watch.
That's not bad. Not bad.
I'd be really curious about it. I'd be really interested in something that has that kind of aesthetic to it as a reissue chronograph. Sure, we'll do it in a white dial, do it in a black dial, maybe do it in a blue. Different cases. Sure, you got a ton of options with that. And then Wittenauer had dive watches, Wittenauer had chronographs, Wittenauer had dress pieces. There's a lot that's available for that. But the other part that I find really fascinating, and I think that Bulova may want to look into this, would be, since they've done the bioceramic snorkel, do a bioceramic moon watch, lunar pilot.
Yeah.
That would be, tell me that wouldn't be fun as hell.
Oh, a bioceramic, well, a hybrid ceramic, Joe.
Excuse me, hybrid ceramic.
Hybrid,
Apologize.
yes. Hybrid.
A hybrid ceramic lunar pilot, I think would be really cool.
They could, right? How much fun would that be?
They what? They retail for $895, $995 when they come out. So one at 400.
Or even less, and you throw it on a
Well, it wouldn't be
NASA
less
style,
because it's a chronograph movement, so it's going to be a little more than what the snorkels are, but still.
a NASA style Velcro strap on that in a bioceramic hybrid.
yeah.
Around.
Whatever. But it'd have to have it, and because it's Bulova, that it would be a metal case back, and it would probably be metal pushers. And who knows what the bezel
maybe.
would be.
That's an interesting proposition. I mean, if you want the lunar pilot to aim for a lower price point, or either a more youthful crowd, that's quite the way to do it.
It would be and you could do it in
fun.
colors. You could, and so you would they could do it in case colors, same way that the snorkels are. Come on.
So speaking of snorkels, right now, as of this recording, the district, what is it? District Time?
District
Watch
Watch
show?
Time in DC.
District Watch Time.
The
That show is
D&D
going
area.
on. If you pay attention to a lot of the photos that the attendees are posting, you may see some interesting stuff on the Bulova table.
You might.
That said,
are some interesting
we haven't seen the end of the hybrid ceramic snorkels.
Oh,
Moving on. Speaking of Bulova,
That's
moving
it.
on.
That was your moment.
That was a perfect segue into bronze watches. Bronze watches is always a polarized topic of discussion in our group chat. I strongly dislike bronze watches.
Oh,
Joe, I know you a yay sayer for bronze watches.
I'm ambivalent. Like I
Are you?
understand. I am. I understand the appeal. I like the idea of bronze as a nautical alloy that does not need any kind of coating because it creates its own oxidization and it is relatively hardy. It prepares itself well. The bronze will patina in a way that is unique to the wearer. It will, and based upon where you wear it, how you wear it, and when you wear it, and all of those things that go with that. And I don't know that I would ever own a bronze watch.
I will never own a bronze watch, and I'll tell you why in a
Really?
minute. Oliver, what are your thoughts? Yay or nay on a bronze watch?
I'm yay, actually.
Always massively yay. It's capital yay.
Capital, yes, all caps,
Capital yay.
YAY. And you know, it's
Exclamation points.
well, you have all of our watches are mainly comprised of steel. You got titanium, and bronze is a unique alloy in itself. And like Joe said, it will wear and patina over time, and it's really specific to how it's worn and the conditions that it's been in. And it's just different. I mean, it will show wear over time, and I don't know. It's just something that I appreciate. Um, Owning a watch and being able to have its own unique life for it, if you will. I don't know. To me, I think that's just fascinating. It's pretty cool, and I don't have any bronze watches. So when Bulova released those mill ships, I was like, okay, they look. I think they look great. The blue and the bronze combo, that looks great, and so does the olive green one. I don't know which one I be gearing towards to, but more safe bet, probably the blue one.
The blue one is definitely nicer of the two. The green,
I
it's
like the
too.
if I were going to choose, I'd choose the green. But I
I
don't know
find
that
that very interesting because they're very similar to one another in the palette wheel. And as you have scolded me, Joe, you have to pick colors that are opposite each other in the color palette.
Well, yes, it's a blue and orange and green and yellow. So bite me.
Okay. The blue and okay, here's my take. The bronze, as
Yes,
it
please.
sits, as we're looking
Please
at
tell us
that
more.
right there,
Okay.
is a beautiful combination.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful watch. The problem that I have with bronze is that they do oxidize and they do patina and they do tarnish.
Oh my.
And I don't like bronze watches because I don't want to have to go through the upkeep to keep it looking new and as it should.
You
I
don't
wanna
have to do that. That's the point.
Well, and because that's the
It's
point,
the point.
because
of
that's the
bronze.
point, I don't like bronze watches because I would have to keep it shiny, pristine, and looking nice. And I don't want to deal with that.
Welcome. Mike has finally admitted his OCD. Thank you, Mike. It's nice of
George,
you.
no,
It's
I'm not
fantastic.
finally admitting it. I'm the guy that has learned how to restore vintage watches.
You come to a realization, like
Mike is the historian between Joe and I. He's the one that keeps. He doesn't wear them, right? He would wrap like what? Not
No, I'm
garage
not-
queens. They're safe queens, right?
I'm not the
Oh.
historian. I'm not the historian. I'm the restorian.
Restorian.
queen.
The
Okay.
restorian.
Mike's got the safe queens. Wow.
That's
I don't have the safe queens.
Safe queen, safe queen. Sit the fuck down.
I don't have the safe queens.
Really? You don't have the safe queens.
No.
You have a
And
full
might I
set of
remind you,
Jetsstars
before
in
you
a
continue,
box.
might I remind you who edits this show?
You can edit all you want. You can do whatever you want. Oliver and I will go live. We will expose you and your safe queens. You cannot stop the news.
What? Come on. What safe queens do I have, Joe?
Your full Jetstar collection. You have two versions of each. One you wear, one you keep in a box. I've seen the box.
Okay, I might slightly.
Vintage and reissue,
Maybe.
right?
I might have them in a box that doesn't see light, no light
No.
exposure.
Doesn't come out to the light of day. No.
No. Okay.
It's in
But
your
that's
closet.
besides the point.
Do you hack your reissues?
That's besides the point. Point is, I don't want to have to go through the upkeep of a bronze watch to keep it looking nice. And I don't like the patinaed look of
except
this.
You don't have to.
The
That's the
point
whole.
of a bronze watch is the patina. That's
I
the
get that. I and I understand that.
appeal. That's the whole appeal of a bronze case. And you
Well,
brought this on yourself. This is what's worse. This was a complete self-inflicted wound.
I feel like anything that I say to you two is a self-inflicted wound.
You
I
are the
don't get
guy that
any
got hit
sympathy
on the
from you
back of the
guys.
head by his own boomerang. That's what this is.
I don't get any sympathy. And you
Whether-
call yourself my friends.
This is why we're your friends. We'll
And
call you
this
out.
is the
The
Oh,
group
hold on.
chat.
what
Live.
is the current name of the group chat? This is the Mr. Super Seville by Timex group chat.
And
That
the better part of
no
it is that
joke.
Oliver went into AI and he started making images of
I
Mike.
know he makes these weird AI images of me.
That's fantastic. It's like, Mike, Mr. Miami.
He's on a yacht.
He's on a yacht wearing a linen suit. It's beautiful.
I can't pull up the image that's currently on there now to show everybody.
And
but-
also there's all these images of Mike in high school. Now, Oliver did do images of me in high school, which are eerily correct.
It looked right on yours. Yeah, you.
Well, the whole thing, right? If you take a look at me from high school, that's real damn close. It's real damn close. So, just saying,
Well, we're
Yeah.
not AI.
it's coming for your job.
yeah.
Not my job. Maybe not Mike's job. I don't see AI doing gator wrangling, but still.
No, probably not. You know, what's funny is I actually had to last calls. Okay, so I had to look something up on the internet, and I used ChatGPT to accomplish said information that I was trying to figure out. I don't remember what it was. Then I'm like, okay, well, let's have some fun with this. So I asked it, what are your plans to take over the world?
Oh, God.
And
ChatGPT assures me that it has no current plans for world domination.
current
Yes.
Keyword current.
plans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it
There
asked
are
me what I would.
plans.
Then it
They're
asked
just
me
not
what I
current.
would do if AI were to take over. And that was an interesting conversation that ensued after that. So,
Okay then.
yeah,
So you have been in direct contact with our computer overlords.
I have. I may be the next ambassador.
Fair enough.
Neither confirm nor deny.
Fair enough. That's good to know. All right. I have a last take.
What you got?
Ooh.
Last call.
Last call. And it has to do with Oliver and his enjoyment of cosplay.
Wow.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
While you discuss that, I'm going to pull up the photo in question.
Yes, please.
Joe has one opinion. I have another opinion. I'm on your side, Oliver.
Listeners, I have no idea what they're talking about.
Okay.
You're about to.
This.
Yeah.
Hold on. There we go.
Oliver and cosplay.
Yeah.
What's the picture, Oliver?
That's not cosplay. Oliver was
That is
posting.
cosplay.
He was posing next to the girl,
That is
At
not
the-
Daisy Ridley.
the
No.
Star Wars land
No.
in Disneyland.
Disneyland ain't gonna have the real thing, so it gets the next step.
Disneyland paid for the real thing.
What Joe really wants to know, Oliver, is that Mrs. Oliver?
No.
Not yet. Not yet. If he keeps going back to Disney on a regular basis to keep doing that pose, we see that pose a couple more times.
Pose. Oh my God, Joe.
Hey,
That's,
you know what?
that was my reaction
look,
too.
Look, man, I met Cinderella. She teaches middle school band in Chino. Just saying.
Does that mean you cosplay too?
No, I don't teach.
Well, so
middle
why does
school band in
Oliver?
Chino.
That was a past life of mine. I have not done that.
Oh, Oliver, I'm trying to fight for you, buddy. Why did you admit to that? That you're on your own now. You know what? I'm out.
I'm the one that likes transistorized.
Oliver,
movies. I've
Joe's
always
patting his
been on
back.
my own.
Yeah,
Himself
Oliver
on the
knows
back.
he's in a minority here at this point in time.
Oh, Oliver, I tried.
Oh,
Last
that's
call.
great.
Got a last
I
call.
have never cosplayed. I've never LARPed.
LARPing, that I've never done that. That's a whole different. Yeah.
Yet.
Oh, that's yeah.
Oh, what do you got for a last call, Oliver? Here's Oliver's last call. Oliver, you went running. You did a half marathon today, correct?
Yeah, that this morning.
So I've got a legitimate question for you.
Okay.
Why?
Why? Why?
You're always running.
It feels good when you stop.
It,
And the other problem is that I can't stop because I don't know where
Feels-
my car is.
this is
It
why I
feels good
run,
when you
guys.
stop
If
and
you're
are writhing
listening,
on the
by
ground in
way.
pain.
This is why I run.
This conversation, this is exactly why I'm running, because I could have couple hours to myself without listening to these two. Because by the time I come back, I have to catch up, and then God knows what they've chatted about.
Yeah. You
Neither-
and your cosplaying.
You and your
Oh.
cosplaying. That's about it. And the other thing
Oh.
is, this is also kind of funny when you start looking at like the group chat, because the three of us have a watch account, but we also have a personal account.
Correct.
And so my personal account is restricted. You know, not anybody can hop onto that. I don't know
Me
about
either.
I don't know about the two of you, but we haven't started a group chat there for non-watch related things, and I'm loath to do so. However, you know, Oliver's posting up pictures on his personal account of him in cosplay, and I'm forwarding it to Mike. I'm like, this is what we're talking about. This is the point right here. Look at
And
this.
Oliver,
And,
I
and
want
Mike's
you to
like,
know.
I don't know what you're talking about. Like, yes, you do.
I want you to know, Oliver, until about 90 seconds ago, I had your back. But as soon
You
as you
did.
admitted that you had done it previously, that's it. You lost my support. Oliver, since the last time you were on the show, you have started to kind of do your own thing on YouTube. Go ahead and plug yourself. Tell the people
Tell us about yourself.
where they can
What
find
do you got?
you and what it is that you do.
Oliver, if you don't remember, Oliver did do the promo for our last episode of the Blue.
Attempted to.
God, that
attempted.
was funny. That was so good.
That took
The best-
so much, man. I
The
couldn't-
best one was when he gets on the camera and he's like,
Ugh.
It is. Oh man, yeah, it is tough.
see, Oliver, like I've told Joe time and time again, it's not easy being me.
That's on you, dude. It's
my
relatively easy being me.
Oliver, what do you
Give me
do?
Your baguette. Well, you can find me at Watches with Oliver on YouTube and Instagram. So catch me there. Got hopefully some more reviews on Caravel and Bulba stuff. So yeah,
But your segment is called
watch takes. So
Watch
all
takes.
takes on watches, all different types of different Caravels and Bulbas. But I'm gonna get them out there. Gonna spread the word. Caravel, yes.
and
Oliver,
the great
Oliver
the
does.
great,
They're quick. They're relatively short. It's like 30 minutes or less usually.
I
I
think
am
the longest
planning
one
on shortening them, but
the
yeah.
longest one you've done was the recent one. You just did one on your Frederic Constant, which I
Yeah,
think
that
was like
one-
20 minutes.
That one ranks around 20, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's a journey.
And you can comment on Oliver's videos and he will give you a very polite answer only if he doesn't know who you are, because I commented on his video and he didn't realize it was me, and therefore he was extremely polite until he
Oh.
realized who it was.
So
This is true. That's so funny. That was
So
great.
how it came, so I saw it pop up and I didn't see the username and I didn't see the picture. I didn't realize that, there's a little picture of you. And so I'm like, okay, and here I am. I'm just responding, blah, blah, blah. And then, I don't know, hours passed or whatever. And then I went back to it. I think you like thumbed up it or something. And then your picture popped up. I was like, wait, what? And then I looked
know
at your
you.
username, Mike T. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so of
Oh,
course I
dude.
replied as politely and as professionally as I could.
So how do we get in touch, Mike?
Joe, you, Oliver, and myself, we make up the Spring Bar Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at the Spring Bar Podcast. You can email us, springbarpodcast@gmail.com. On a personal level, I am 120 clicks all spelled out, one long word, 120 clicks. Joe.
I am Watch Taylor Youth, EUPH, all one word. Oliver.
Watches with Oliver, all one word on YouTube and Instagram.
As
YouTube.
every Instagram handle is really all one word. And if you leave a comment on our YouTube videos, I will reply to you in the same enthusiastic, positive, and upbeat tone as I would with anybody else.
I will not.
Joe comments on his personal account, and nobody knows that it's actually Joe commenting.
That's
So
true.
the commenter gets very confused. Well, until next time, when we can convince Joe to change his YouTube handle to Watch Taylor Youth so everybody knows who they're talking to. Cheers.
Cheers.